Hey, what's going on, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. The Dodgers are interested in adding a bat at the MLB trade deadline. We've got the list of names the Dodgers are after and who should they pick up. We're going to dive into that in just a second. And if you're new to the channel, for all the latest Dodgers news and rumors all MLB trade deadline long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if you really want to support the channel, you want us to post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And as always, I want your takes down below in the comment section. Which of these bats would you like to see the Dodgers add? JD Martinez, Brandon Drury, Ian Happ, Josh Bell, or Garett Cooper? Or do you think they should stand pat and they're fine and they don't need to add a bat? I want all your takes down below. And for all the latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. Okay, so we've got lots to get into. The MLB trade rumors are really starting to percolate. Things are starting to heat up, and one of the first big dominoes fell yesterday after the Yankees made a move for Royals outfielder Andrew Benintendi. And yes, a nice upgrade for the Yankees. Not the same power as a Joey Gallo, but you don't have that boomer buzz. He's got those really nice bat-to-ball skills. He's an on-base machine, plays great defense. It's going to be a great upgrade for the Pinstripes. Now, the reason why the Benintendi deal is relevant to Dodger fans is, one, yes, it does mean they're probably out of the Soto sweepstakes, so you can cross another team off. But most importantly, after the deal was done, Ken Rosenthal reported that Toronto, Milwaukee, and Los Angeles were in the mix for Benintendi. So that tells you that the Dodgers are in the market for another bat, that they are shopping to upgrade their roster, maybe upgrading from Hanser Alberto. Now, guess what? I have news for you guys. There are some trades to be made that don't involve Juan Soto, and at the moment it appears that the San Diego Padres are the front runners. I've talked to some league insiders, and they tell me that the Padres have been the most aggressive. You talk about the package they're going to offer centered around Mackenzie Gore. I think right now, if you had to bet on a team, it's going to be the San Diego Padres. But then again, the Padres were the team that was supposed to get Max Scherzer at the deadline last year, and what happened? I've also spoke to some Nationals beat writers, people who cover the team in D.C., and they're adamant that the Nationals won't be trading Soto this deadline. So we'll see how this plays out, and forgive me if I'm pouring cold water on your Juan Soto to the Dodgers dreams, but at the moment it just doesn't feel like LA is going to make a move for the childish Bambino. But things can change. It's always fluid. I've already dropped a couple of videos with some deep dives on the Juan Soto rumors. If you want to check those out, I'll drop those links down in the description. But there are some other bats that the Dodgers have been confirmed to be interested, and the first one we're going to dive into today is Miami Marlins first base DH Garett Cooper. MLB insider John Heyman tweeted out, Dodgers have been looking at Marlins all-star Garett Cooper, although teams in the Soto sweepstakes may wait to act on other hitters. So first things first, let's break out that Dodgers rumor meter. And for this rumor that has the Dodgers interested in Garett Cooper, I'm going to give this one 3 Dodger dogs serious smoke, and here's why. You know, if you've been watching this channel for a few years now, the Dodgers have shown interest in Garett Cooper before, so there's clearly something they've identified in him that they like. And also, I think if they made a move for Garett Cooper, I don't think it would be just for him. I think that you would see them add someone else from the Marlins, maybe a reliever, maybe an Anthony Bass type of guy that's been one of the more dominant relievers in Major League Baseball this year. If they wanted to go crazy and add a starting pitcher, maybe a Pablo Lopez, who's under team control for another 2.5 seasons, still young, a great contract, so maybe they do that. But when it comes to Garett Cooper, the player, what are the pros and cons? Well, if you look at his numbers so far this season, he's slashing 279, 347, 426 with a 338 WOBA, a 122 weighted runs created plus. So now, I have had some of you ask me, what does weighted runs created plus mean? And I'm going to do a whole video on that someday, but all you need to know is that it scales the league average to 100. So at 122 WRC plus, Garett Cooper is 22% better than the average bat when it comes to offensive production. Now, he is a big guy, standing at 6'5". He's definitely not a mini Cooper by any stretch, but one of the big cons for me is he's very underwhelming as a slugger. He's not a needle mover as a slugger, just 7 home runs and 337 plate appearances, has a 148 isolated power, down from 181 last season. His slugging percentage is down from 465 last year to 426. so the slug is down. And then another con, too, is he's not having success versus lefties this season. A 597 OPS versus southpaws, down from 971 last year, which actually is a good thing because it shows you he has had success against lefties in the past. He has a career 801 OPS versus lefties with 13 home runs, but he's just not the master type. Also, another con, doesn't offer that positional versatility. He's going to be a DH. He does play first base, has played some corner outfield, but we know that Freddie Freeman plays essentially every single day posting at first base. So I just don't love the move for Garett Cooper. One pro is his contract. He's making $2.5 million this season. He's under one more year of team control. So while he won't put a dent in the Dodgers' pocketbook, he does have that extra year of team control. So you will have to pay up more assets to get him than you would a rental like Drury or JD Martinez, which we'll talk about in just a second, or even a Josh Bell. But I think when it comes to Garett Cooper, you have to trust Andrew Friedman and this organization. I'm very curious what they see in him, because if the Dodgers want you, it usually is for a specific reason. They know that either they can unlock you and take you to the next level, or is there something about your peripherals, your batted ball, your numbers that tell you that, hey, you would do well in this Dodgers organization, you would produce. But I think the big question I have, and one of the cons, is how much of an upgrade is he to a Trayce Thompson, to a Jake Lamb, to even a Miguel Vargas if you gave him an opportunity to come up, because he is going to cost some prospects when you consider that extra year of team control. But I think what makes the Garett Cooper rumors so intriguing is the idea of adding multiple players. Like when you go to the pet store, you don't get just one fish, you get multiple fish. So if Andrew Friedman is going to do a deal with the Marlins, I could see him adding Cooper, maybe a pitcher, maybe a starting pitcher or a relief pitcher, maybe an Anthony Bass. We talked about Pablo Lopez. Even though I'm not in love with Pablo Lopez, he is very intriguing when you talk about how young he is and when you talk about his contract. And you have to remember that even a team like the mighty Dodgers, they're not always going to get their guy. They're not always going to get their plan A, so they could pivot to a deal with the Miami Marlins. But next name we're going to talk about is JD Martinez. This is the name that has me the most excited. I want to see JD in LA, and our friend over at AM 570, Dodger insider David Vassay, he reported last night on his show that the Dodgers are kicking the tires on JD Martinez. They're interested in adding the multi-time All-Star, Mookie Betts' former teammate who he won a World Series with, Dodgers hitting coach Robert Van Scoyoc, who he has credited for really saving his career and taking it to the next level. But the big question right now for JD Martinez is, will the Boston Red Sox be sellers? Because as it stands right now, they're not quite out of it. And let's not forget that last season, the Atlanta Braves, they're a 500 team as late as August 6th, and that 88-win team, they went on to win the World Series. So some proud GMs out there, they might hold their team intact and try to go for it. And let's also remember that you have that third wild card team this year in Major League Baseball. So the Red Sox aren't the dead Sox quite yet. They are 4 games back from that third spot. But really, if they're being honest with themselves, do they really have the pitching to compete this season? And if they don't, JD Martinez is a guy you definitely want to move. He's a guy that he is a pending free agent. He will be entering free agency after this season. So whichever team gets him, he's going to be a rental for the rest of the year. And that checks off a big box for the Dodgers. They love the rental types. They don't want to commit long-term financially. And JD Martinez, if you look at his numbers so far this season, he's slashing .295, .363, .471, has a .361 WOBA, a .132 WRC+. But what you love about JD Martinez is, one, he's fantastic in the postseason, a .987 postseason OPS. So he has that veteran experience, that championship pedigree. He has won a World Series, and that is what this team is trying to accomplish. And another thing, too, he mashes against left-handed pitchers. So far this season, JD Martinez, a 1,051 OPS versus southpaws with 2 home runs, 10 doubles, and for his career, he's just been a lefty killer. For his career, at .958 OPS versus lefties, 84 home runs, 89 doubles. So this is a guy that could really improve the Dodgers lineup, and also even against right-handed pitchers would probably still be an upgrade to Max Muncy. And I hear a lot of people out there saying, well, his power numbers are down. Just 9 home runs for JD Martinez, who made the All-Star team again this season. But if you look at his batted ball numbers, if you look at his barrel rate, if you look at his hard contact, he's definitely due for a power surge. The quality of contact is still far above league average, a 44% hard hit rate. His barrel rate is almost double the league average. Just look at his percentile rankings, a 91 percentile in expected batting average, in the 93rd percentile in expected slug, in the 80th percentile max exit velocity, the 92nd percentile in expected WOBA. If you look at that barrel percentage, in the 80th percentile. Now, when it comes to chase, he definitely does that. Definitely whiffs. Not a fast guy, of course, on the base pass, and also he's very limited when it comes to positional versatility because he's limited to basically the DH spot at this point. And that is a con when it comes to JD Martinez because, yes, if you're in a desperate situation, theoretically you could play him in left field, but at this stage of his career, he's rendered to being a designated hitter. He would be the DH for the Dodgers, and then in the situation where Austin Barnes is behind the dish, how do you get Will Smith at bats during that game? And another thing, too, is you just don't have that positional versatility. We know that the idea for the Dodgers when it comes to their DH spot is that they want to have a rotation there. You want to rotate guys in and out of the DH spot to keep guys fresh. On the same token, we also heard the Dodgers involved with Nelson Cruz and Jorge Soler, guys that are DHs during last offseason. So I think for the right bat, they would definitely give that DH to a player like JD Martinez. And I hear some of you out there, I've seen in the comments, hey, D-Mac, why do they need to trade for a bat? Look at the Dodgers offense. And yes, if you look at LA's offense and their numbers as they compare to the teams around the league, they're definitely elite. 5.1 runs per game. That's second to the Yankees. 126 home runs. That's good for sixth. A 775 OPS. That leads all of Major League Baseball. A 770 OPS versus lefties. That's top 10 in the league. But I think that this team is trying to load up for the World Series. This team isn't content to win a division title or even a pennant. This team is looking at teams like the Yankees, the Astros, the Mets, the Braves, some of the big guns out there, the top dogs, and they want to load up. And you also consider the DH spot. This year so far, the Dodgers have gotten a 789 OPS from the designated hitter spot this season, and I think they realize that a player like JD Martinez, who can come in as a right-handed bat, he can give you that slug, and he's also postseason proven, and then also gives you some insurance if Justin Turner, who's been battling injuries, if Chris Taylor, who's been battling injuries as well. I mean, if you talk about the right side of the plate, Will Smith even has struggled a little bit after the All-Star break. So I think JD Martinez would be a perfect fit for the Dodgers. Now, the other question is, how much is he going to cost? Well, Martinez is in the final season of a 5-year, $110 million contract, where his 2022 salary was at $19.375 million. That contract was front-loaded, so he still owed around $7.5 million of that salary between now and the remainder of the season. And last year, when the Rays traded for Nelson Cruz, who was the top DH available at the deadline and a guy who was set to enter free agency, they gave up their number 10 and number 17 prospects. So maybe the Dodgers part ways with a Clayton Beeter type or a James Outman type for a JD Martinez, a guy that could really help this team. Like I said, intangibles off the charts, one of the most well-liked guys around the league, a clubhouse leader, and then who knows, maybe he could fix Max Muncy in the process with his knowledge of hitting. So I think when it comes to Garett Cooper and JD Martinez, clearly you go JD Martinez because he should be cheaper theoretically, and also to me, Garett Cooper isn't proven in the postseason where we know JD Martinez absolutely is. So just to review the pros with JD Martinez: big-time impact bat, a guy that can get it done the postseason, a guy who rakes against lefties, a guy who's a clubhouse leader. Now, the cons are, of course, doesn't have that positional versatility. He did play 28 games in left last season, 7 games in right. So if you are desperate, you could throw him in one of the corner outfield spots. And then also, there's the injury issues. He's dealt with back issues for the last 3 seasons. He missed time recently to back spasms. But also, Garett Cooper, he's currently on the IL with a wrist injury. He won't be able to return until August 5th. So both these guys have had injury issues, but just look at this lineup with JD Martinez. You got Mookie Betts leading off in right, Trey Turner at short batting second, Freddie Freeman batting third, playing first, JD Martinez hitting cleanup at the DH spot, Will Smith behind the dish at catcher, JT Justin Turner at the hot corner batting sixth, Cody Bellinger in center batting seventh, CT3, hopefully he gets healthy and gets it going, in left batting eighth, and then Gavin Lux turning over that lineup in the 9th spot at second base. And of course, Trace Thompson, he's going to have an impact. I think that Jake Lamb, they have made great impressions on this organization as evidenced by their numbers. So So I think JD Martinez is a very interesting name the Dodgers should strongly consider. But now it's on you to do your job, root for the Dodgers and whoever the Red Sox are playing so the Sox can be sellers at the deadline. But I've got another video coming up. The Dodgers are also interested in Josh Bell, Ian Happ, and Brandon Drury, so be on the lookout for that. But let me know down below in the comment section on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do you want JD Martinez on the Dodgers, and who would you rather have, Garett Cooper or JD Martinez? Let me know down below. My name is D-Mac. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For all latest Dodgers news, rumors, high videos, interviews, breakdowns, and more, all trade deadline long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you really want to support the channel, you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.